Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Jay the Bunny Gamer video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Strangers Than Heaven, a new action game being developed by the Yakuza franchise creators slash Like a Dragon guys from the Ryuga Gotoku Studios. I apologize immensely if I butchered that name, but essentially when this game was first revealed, it was called Project Century, and it was revealed all the way back at the 2024 VGA's award. When I first saw it, I wasn't entirely impressed. It did look interesting, but something about it felt off, but it just didn't gravitate towards me. So I was like, oh, okay, new entry and maybe the Yakuza franchise, I thought, but it sounds like it has nothing to do with the Yakuza franchise. So the next time we got the game with its new title reveal of Stranger Than Heaven was this Summer Games Fest, and pretty much when that happened, I was hooked like immediately by the game. Something about it with that second reveal trailer like just really drew me in. So that's why I told myself if I ever came back to YouTube, I definitely would want to make a video talking about this game and hopefully getting you guys interested. Now, since that second reveal, we haven't really gotten a lot of brand new information, so pretty much what I'm going to tell you is just probably basic information that's already been regurgitated out there, but I figure, you know what, I want to talk about this game and it seems very interesting. So one of the first things we're going to realize is that you're going to be playing the game through what looks to be one main character whose name is Mako Daito, and I apologize again if I messed up that name as well, but essentially it looks like we're going to be going through stages of his life. As of right now, we have two definite time periods. The reveal trailer that happened when it was still Project Century, that happened in 1915. We get to see what looks to be a young Mako, and then we get the second reveal trailer, which the name title dropped on it, and that was set in 1943. So that's a pretty big gap of time, about 28 years, I believe, if you do the math. So we were looking at potentially like maybe a 19 to 20-year-old Mako in the first trailer, and now looking at like close to probably like a 38 to about like 40-year-old Mako. I'm just curious to see if we're also going to get a third time period in this that, you know, bridges the gap between the 1915 and the 1943 Mako, and see how that plays out, because I think it'd be very interesting to see like what it would be like after he's no longer the young brash youth that he is, but not before he reaches his full potential as the veteran that we see in the newest trailer. And some things we tend to notice about Mako is that I believe he's supposed to be a detective of some kind or some kind of handyman, given by what we see, because obviously when he starts in the 1950s, he's not really developed, he's starting out. Then when we look at the 1943 trailer, we see that he's in his own, he's more suave, he carries himself differently. So I believe that's his profession. Nothing's been set in concrete from the actual developers themselves, but another thing we know about Mako is that apparently he can speak both fluent Japanese and English, because in the second trailer he's talking to what seems to be a Westerner agent trying to ask him information, asks him who he is. He responds that his name is Mako Daito, to which the agent goes, so you're Japanese, to which Mako then says, don't I look it? This seems to flabbergast the agent, to which he asks him, you're not? Then what are you? And then we get a cool scene of where Mako actually takes off his glasses and then switched from being an English speaker to Japanese, pretty much telling him like he doesn't know himself.
Got a name?
Mako Daito.
Daito. A Jap then, huh?
Don't I look like one?
You're not? So, what are you then?
Sana. 俺が知りてえや。
Which was a really cool reveal in my opinion, and kind of sets the stage, I feel like, for what the story narrative could be like, because maybe Mako isn't just like pure Japanese. Potentially he might have parentage that's both like foreign and Japanese, so that maybe explains why he can speak both languages, seems to be fluently. But again, we don't know how heavy that's going to tie into the story at all. Another thing we seem to know about the game is that it's going to take place in Japan. Now obviously I don't know where in Japan, I don't know if it was said in any of the trailers or any other outside information where it's going to take place, like if it's a fictitious city or is it a real city. If you happen to know that, please write in the comments and let me know. I'd be very interested to hear about that. But that's about all the information we have based on the story so far and the setting. And with that out of the way, the next thing I want to talk about is the combat, because honestly, from the snippets we've seen between both trailers, it looks very interesting. Now, obviously, the first trailer, like I said, didn't really grab me with the combat I was seeing, but it was still interesting and it had a lot of environmental effects as well. But like I said before, it was the second reveal trailer that really got me interested in this game, and it also is no small fact due to the combat that we get to see. And one of the cool aspects we get to see of the combat is Mako's walking towards a bad guy who's on the ground, and he pulls out a gun and is about to shoot Mako, but he's able to use some kind of parry or dodge at the last second to dodge the bullet. And I don't know if that's going to be some gameplay mechanic where you actually can prompt that depending on the enemy or the type of weapon they're using, or if that was just some kind of cinematic flair. But another thing we get to see in the combat as well is that in one scene, Mako is holding a bad guy down, and in his other hand he has a knife, which I'm assuming he got from that guy. And if you look at the bottom screen, you get to see two choices: show mercy or don't show mercy. Now the player player who is doing that chooses no mercy, and we see him push the guy down, and just as he's about to deliver the final blow with the knife into the guy's chest, it cuts to black. But from that little snippet alone, I wonder how big morale is going to play into the game. Like, how many choices are we going to have? Was that only for gameplay to like, hey, you know, instead of finishing the guy, maybe let him walk away, or finish him this time to send a message? Very interesting. I wonder if that's going to correlate into the story as well. If we're going to have like big moments where Mako has to make these decisions that could potentially maybe branch the story. So a lot of fun theory crafting we could have with that. So basically, the next thing I want to talk about is where we could potentially see Stranger Than Heaven show up again with hopefully another big reveal. And I seem to think there's two possibilities. The first one would be TGS, and if you guys don't know what that is the Tokyo Game Show, and it basically happens around the end of September. It's about 4 days of big game reveals, updates on games, and just a celebration of Japanese developers coming together and just talking and showing off either new games or current games or games that are in development, and just giving updates and all that fun stuff. The next place I could see this happening is the VGAs, and the reason for that is because usually that's the last game show of the year. But another thing why I think this might be likelier than TGS is because given how the game has been revealed so far, like I said at the beginning of the video, the game was first revealed as Project Sentry back in 2024 at the VGAs. Then the next time we see the game with its brand new title was at Summer Games Fest, which is also a Jeff Keighley run event. So I'm very curious to see if Jeff was able to work out a deal with Sega to some extent so that he could get first new information on Stranger Than Heaven than any other place. That's pretty much what I'm thinking is the high likelihood where we could see this game pop up again. And if it does show up at the VGAs, that will let us know you probably won't see the game maybe until like late 2026, maybe early 2027. Whereas if we see it at TGS, there's a high probability it could show up at least like mid 2026 or late 2026. And that's just me speculating. Obviously, I have no concrete information on any of this. This game could be 2027 regardless of when it shows up. But I would hope that the next time it does show up, wherever that is again, that we get a release window. I don't think they're going to give us a release date in the next major trailer update that they give us, but I am pretty sure they will give us a release window. So one way or another, we will know if the game is going to be like a 2026 game or a 2027 game. But that pretty much does it for me, guys, with all the information that I'm aware of. If there's any other information that you know about this game that I wasn't aware of, please sound off in the comments. I would love to hear about it because honestly, I'm very hyped about this game. From what I've seen of the gameplay so far and the story that I'm seeing and the character himself and just the atmosphere that they're playing with this and the mystique that's also going on, it's got me really interested. And I mean, I haven't felt this way in a long time about a game that isn't like Trails or a Tales game or an Utawari Ramono game or even like a Warriors game. So I'm very happy. That's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you managed to make it this far, just remember, take care of yourselves, have a great day, and remember, let's rock.